The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
Welcome back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bound. Today we will be answering listener emails, and we have a question from Richard, who lives in Watertown, New York. Oh, I haven't been there in a long time. And Richard asks, Trump is escalating his attacks on the Smithsonian Institution museums and saying there is too much focus on slavery and how bad slavery was. Why are Republicans so focused against those who tell the truth? Is this an attempt at historical narrative control, wiping our cultural memory? Should politics play any role in public education? Does the panel think anyone really cares about this non-issue? Well, the fact, Richard, that you are asking this question means it's not a non-issue. So I would say this is definitely an issue. And no, politics should not play any role in public education. Republicans want to engage again in magical thinking, and they have an idea of great replacement theory, which is a nonsense theory, and they also like the idea of white supremacy. They want to try to inform children that slavery was not what it really was. So yeah, this is an attempt to rewrite the historical narrative, the same as Hitler did, the same as Stalin did, the same as Putin has done and is doing now in Russia. This is what authoritarians do. That this is normal for authoritarians, and we have to educate ourselves and attempt to educate our children beyond what they're going to hear in school, because it will not be accurate. Mark, Scott?
Yeah. So in the preamble to the Constitution, there's words to this effect, in order to make a more perfect union. Interesting turn of phrase there, because perfect is perfect, right? It can't be more perfect than perfect. But they put it in there deliberately because they understood that, yes, we can be better. And museums tell the story of the past and what it was, warts and all. And Trump, would like to get away from what he perceives as the negativity and doesn't understand is the idea that our government, our Constitution, allows us to constantly improve, continuous improvement, and to ensure freedom for all. He just doesn't get it. And that's the problem. He looks at it as a negative that needs to be whitewashed, and he thinks that that's his job.
Yeah. The United States historically has whitewashed its history for forever. I know that when we were in primary school, we were taught about Christopher Columbus and the wonderful pilgrims and, the settlers, and everything was rainbows and sunshine coming out of everybody's butt. And whenever you watch movies of, the main movies of the 40s and 50s, the Americans were the bravest, we were the strongest, we were the most righteous, we were this, that, and the other, everything good, because that's what we want to think of ourselves. That's what, that's that magical thinking that Brooklyn always talks about. We like to be assured that that we're doing really, really well. Even Gone with the Wind, when you look at the way the slaves were treated in there, it paints a totally different picture than the reality of the slavery that was enacted. So we are very good at kidding ourselves. at taking the history. That's why when this question asks about historical narrative, we've been doing this forever. We have been doing this forever, and I think it's become something. It's part of the nation. We don't want to. We don't want to admit that we're wrong sometimes. We don't want to admit that we're human and have failings. We don't want. These are not things that we're willing to admit to, and we will not stand to have that narrative that takes us out of that star-spangled banner, wonderful limelight, and puts us into some limelight that may be less good-looking, I guess I would put it. So this is nothing new. I found the comment trying to tell us that slavery was so bad. I'm sorry, you moron. It was that bad. The fact that you would make that statement. Now, I'm going to give a little credit here, or I'm going to give it a little bit of an excuse here. Trump's use of the English language is about 5th grade. Maybe that's not exactly the way he meant it, even though it's exactly what he said. But okay, maybe that's it. So for all the people who think that I never give Trump a break, I'm going to say I'm going to give him a little bit of a break on that. That the fact that he's a moron and can't speak English is probably why he said something so stupid.
I would give him like a 3rd grade English myself.
I was always an easier grader than you were. Anyway,
I know.
I mean, so to me, I look at this and I say, this is nothing new.
No,
this is absolutely nothing new. We have been fooling ourselves as a nation for forever. And I think that, this goes to a larger issue. This is where MAGA got started. What does MAGA stand for? Make America Great Again. Because we were beginning to admit we had faults. We admitted during Johnson's term in the 60s that we had faults. We began to accept people of LGBTQ. We began to accept mixed marriages. We began to accept all these things, correcting the wrongs that we had perpetuated for all these years, and we started correcting them. And you know what? There was this group of old, poor, uneducated, white Christian Americans who said, "Wait a minute. I have nothing. The only thing I have is America's Star-Spangled Banner great, and you're telling me it's not. So yeah, let's make America great again." And part of that is to go back to the narrative that's a lie. I want you to tell me the lie. Tell me the bedtime story. Tell me that we've always been good, that we're the most powerful, that we're the most beautiful, that we're the richest, whatever it might be. In Trump's case, tell him he's a good golfer. And he really sucks. I watched him golf the other day. He really sucks. Tell him he's got big hands. I don't care what you got to tell him. I mean, because he wants to hear the lie. And those people that are in the MAGA cult, they're in that same, they want to know the lie. Tell me the lie. I want the lie. Because I can't handle the truth. Ooh, where do we remember that one from? You can't handle the truth. They can't. They can't handle the truth of it. So, yeah, the Smithsonian, it's a shame because if you've never been to the Smithsonian, it's an amazing place. And it's not just one museum. There's like 5 or 6 or 7 of them, different museums there. It's an absolutely wonderful place. And it's where knowledge is stored. What's next? Libraries? What's next?
So they've already started on libraries and have threatened to arrest librarians and that type of stuff.
This is part and parcel with the whole idea of like, I don't like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so I'm going to fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics and hire somebody to take that job who's going to tell me what I want them to say.
Exactly. And this guy was in the January 6th crowd, by the way. You can see his photo. He was there. Oh, I was there for a meeting, he says. Right.
And so in their letter to Lonnie Bunch III last week, the White House said that this review of the Smithsonian aims to ensure alignment with the president's directive to celebrate American exceptionalism, remove divisive or partisan narratives, and restore confidence in our shared cultural institutions. Well, if there's anybody in the planet who doesn't believe in American exceptionalism, it's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump was told, why do you like Vladimir Putin so much? He's a murderer. And he is a war criminal, right?
Yes, he is.
Pulled out of the Geneva Conventions, Article 4, Protocol 1, I think it was. Trump's answer to that was, well, what are we so innocent here? We're not murderers. You know, I mean, he doesn't believe in American exceptionalism. He believes in his own version of American exceptionalism,
which means
which is not based in reality, right?
He himself is exceptional, so whatever he says.
Yeah. So you know, this is all the part of his program to wipe out the actual America and substitute something that he wants to see. Yes. He and only he. We were talking about Putin earlier, and I said Putin is the one with this dream about recreating the Russian Empire. Trump is the one who has this dream of making America great again, which means a time when blacks knew their place, women knew their place, other people knew their place, and that white people and only white Christian American, male Americans, cisgendered, straight, had anything to say that anybody needed to listen to.
And were visible. Everybody else was silent and couldn't vote.
Knows their place, yeah.
And you notice, to your point, Scott, sorry, I know I interrupted you. What you said made me think, what he wants to see. One of the ICE people actually went up in DC, you've probably seen this clip, went up on some poor man's porch. I mean, poor, poverty-stricken, but some, unfortunate man who was sitting outside. He had his cigarette. He had something to drink. I have no idea, whatever alcohol it was, and told him on his own porch that he couldn't sit smoking and drinking outside because Trump didn't want to see that they were there on behalf of President Trump, who didn't want to see people smoking and drinking outside. And did he have his ID on him? The guy said, no, I don't have. I live here. They're coming up on his porch where he lives, telling him he can't smoke and drink outside on his own porch. This is because President Trump doesn't want to see it. And I'm thinking, well, who the bloody hell gives a flying fuck what Trump wants to see or doesn't want to see? This is the United States of America, where the man has the freedom to sit outside and smoke a cigarette and drink alcohol on his front porch if that's what he wants to do. I don't care what Trump wants to see. Trump has no right to tell anybody else what he can and cannot do like that.
Yeah.
But according to Trump, he does. And according to these people, well, they have the right to, they can do anything they want. And the guy actually, one of these other ICE people said, well, we can do anything we want. And sooner or later, and they fired shots into somebody's car out in San Diego or something like that.
Yeah. I saw that. One of the iconic symbols of America is Lady Liberty. And I had reason to read the poem by Emma Lazarus. And I love the last part of it. It's, keep ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, or yearnings. I love the first part of that, the keep your storied pomp.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what this is. That's what Trump wants, a storied pomp. He wants to imagine an America that didn't exist and celebrate something that didn't exist, never has existed, and make it as gold plated as all the crap that he has in the Oval Office now. And it's just disgusting, really. Okay. I'm getting verklempt here.
Yeah, time's getting close. Just and as many of the listeners who write into us, mine and Scott's love of old film. That's because we always mention them. There's a film, if you want to hear about this, that you want. It kind of relates to this a little bit, and it's actually from the Twilight Zone, and
Oh,
it's called The Obsolete Man. Burgess Meredith
oh yes,
played.
I've seen that one.
Yep.
Yes, yep, yep.
Fritz Weaver was the chancellor, and it's a
Yes,
totalitarian state that has
yes,
banned books and words.
yes,
And Burgess Meredith plays a librarian, and they
yes. I
say that
remember this
he
one.
is now obsolete, and they sentence him to death. And one of the comments made by Fritz Weaver, who was absolutely another brilliant actor, who was the chancellor at this time, is, "Words mean nothing to the state. The state is the only thing that's important. Words mean nothing, and neither does art." And neither does the Smithsonian Institute, and neither does all of that if it does not conform to what the state wants you to think. And it's just an absolutely brilliant 30 minutes of television. It was actually made in 1961. Oh, wow. And sometimes we can learn from things like this
Oh yeah,
because, it's amazing how some science fiction writers actually saw Fahrenheit
451.
451,
Right.
another
Well, that's
where the totalitarian state wants to tell you what the history is, wants to feed you the narrative, and let that be that. All right,
and
that's it.
451 degrees, by the way, is the temperature at which paper burns, which is why that's where the number comes from, as I understand it. The title of the book.
All right. So
Conspiracy.
you know what? Mark got to talk about the Twilight Zone. I'm going to bring up the man who shot Liberty Valance,
Oh yes,
which to
John
me
Wayne,
is the greatest
Jimmy Stewart.
Western ever made in a back lot, and not out there in the like the Searchers was in Monument Valley. This was made in a back lot of Hollywood, and the key line there is, "When truth meets the legend, print the legend." Right? That's the American way. Print the legend. And I'll finish with that. Brooke.
Excellent. Excellent. So thank you very much for the question. Richard from Watertown, we appreciate it very much. And thank you everyone for spending some time with us. We appreciate all our listeners. Thank you for your support. And if anyone who's listening is not yet subscribed on the platform of your choice, please do so. That will help to expand our channel. Subscribing is free. We never have any paywall. We have no advertisers or bosses, and
Friends.
Friends. Yeah,
No, we have no friends.
We have nothing.
No, we have no friends. We say what we think.
That's it.
And we try to answer everyone's questions to the best of our ability, despite meandering. Thank you again, and we'll see you all again next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Journal of Interdisciplinary Conflict Science. The JCIS is an open journal for upcoming scholars. The JCIS is currently accepting article submissions on an ongoing basis. The JCIS is a publication of NovaWorks, a scholarly depository at Nova Southeastern University. A link to the journal is in our description.